What's going on, Soul Tribe? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist 8. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mars and Libra in the second house. Now, this is an interesting place for Mars. Now, Mars energizes us. This is how we take action. This is how we just go for it. Mars is just tackles life head on. Whatever's going on, bring it. Mars is always the one. And with Libra is a cardinal air sign. Their lord is Libra, so there's this element of beauty, creativity, and that comes with Libra. And this is where I like to think of Libra as I remember reading in a medical astrology book that Libra is the space in between breaths. So it's like right as you're thinking about what are you going to say, how does that going to have impact? What are you getting ready to begin? There's a lot of power. Life and death for the air signs. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, but I feel like especially Libra is what's starting things off, and so being very mindful with Libra. But they can also use their words to create beauty and create harmony and so much things with Libra. And then we get to the second house, which is about your livelihood and your wealth, pretty much, as far as like how you make money, how you accumulate resources. And so when we have this combination here in traditional astrology, the second house was deemed a more kind of unfavorable house. It was a tougher aspect because when you get to talking about finances and things, that can be a little bit of a touchy subject depending on your relationship with money. And then on top of that, Mars is in one of its sign of, or in one of the signs of its detriment in Libra. And so Mars is not able to function as he normally does. Mars, the energy is can maybe stir up some trouble. So depending on how Mars is being aspected and depending on where Libra, or not Libra, depending on where Venus is at in your chart, because this would be someone by whole sign, they'd have a Virgo rising. I would be mindful of how money drives you. It's one thing I could see this as someone who could potentially be very crafty, especially if Venus is very well placed. This could be someone who could come up with some unique ideas to have maybe different resources, different streams of resource. Again, that Virgo mind is a very practical one, being Mercury ruled. So you could come up with some really cool things, but I would say be mindful about letting that be, I'll only do something if I'm getting something from this. That's the sort of relationship I'd say, that's a fine line we're kind of walking there. So and expect, I would say too though, look at your relationship with resources and money. And do you find yourself operating from this place of where it's how much control it does have over your actions? That's something, and knowing that you're worth more than the resources. That's something that I would look into. This would be because Mars would rule over your third house and your eighth house. Again, I can see this as someone who maybe you're working with other people's money. I'd be mindful about that as far as like maybe it's one thing if you're doing it as a profession. Maybe you do like tax collections, things along those lines. Maybe that's something this Mars is needing to be a little bit more aggressive in its speech because you happen to be doing something like that. But that's another way I could see this coming up. I would see if siblings are involved, or I think a big factor of this would be how you were brought up. I think where you first got that initial thought with Libra, with how you make a livelihood. Maybe you were someone who was in the maybe that's something. For example, maybe you were someone who, if you had a sibling, maybe you had to compete to do certain things. You were rewarded based off the quality or something. And I feel like there's a line there where that could be very constructive, or that could be very destructive. It just depends on how it was delivered. Like, oh, you can only get like my love, or you can only get this if you do this, and or I'll pay you in this, or something along those lines. So, and I just got even just like a hit just kind of thinking about that, as far as like just like money isn't always the answer, but it's not necessarily two. It's not, I'm not trying to make it the enemy, because I've just actually just read a book not too long ago, and I really just like money is God in manifestation. So it's, and I feel it's too. trying to come from a place of flow. Try not to get where, again, you're so controlled by it. Know that when it's going out, that it's gonna come back. When we pay, I heard this TikTok. I think this is last thoughts here. I remember we heard this TikTok or something on social media, and this guy was just like, "Thank you, money. Thank you, money, for going to pay my bills. Thank you, money, for doing all these things for me." That's the kind of relationship have. Money. I was actually thinking about getting a board of having a sign that says "Welcome back, money." Appreciate you. What took you so long? So just having that very healthy relationship, I feel, in money could really kind of help kind of balance things out so that it's not running your life, but also where you're doing some good work with this too. So, and I'd be mindful about people, about overgiving. I would think too. Make sure that people, we collect. We don't leave debts unpaid. So that's another thing I think I would bring up with this. So, and I would like, if you happen to have this placement, I would love to hear how Mars, have you been working with this Mars, because that's going to depend too if Mars is in a day chart or night chart. That might kind of help things a little bit, and if Venus is able to assist Mars in this or not. But I would love to hear how this is working out for you in your chart, and hopefully we could do like a live with this thing and just ask all kind of questions. But until the next one, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration to the roof. You seize the day and the night, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.